In this video, we're sharing our experience in the Amtrak headed from Vancouver B.C. all the way to Seattle, Washington. And in this video, it's actually pretty interesting. I've actually never been to the Amtrak trains in all my life in living here in Washington State, and it just so happens I was in Vancouver that day, and I decided, oh, okay, maybe I should give it a try and just come back home.
Well,
and so that's what I did.
You're not the only one. I've actually still never been on an Amtrak train. I've been interested, but just you know, I'm usually trying to get somewhere, always trying to go a little faster than the length of time it takes to take the train. But I have been on trains, so it's not like I haven't been on trains. But in terms of trains in the US, I've been on like dinner trains where it's a couple-hour ride and you kind of get to see some things, and that's about it. But in terms of actually traveling somewhere to another destination, only abroad I've been able to use a train to actually travel rather than here in the States.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I've also only traveled on dinner trains in the past, and also those wine tasting trains. Those are pretty interesting too. And so starting off in this video, I actually got the business cart train, and so the onboard process, because it's going from one country to another, you actually have to go through customs first, and you have to fill out one of those nothing to declare forms. Regardless of if you're using Nexus or a passport card or wherever you're using, or even a driver license, make sure to check on all that information before you board the train to make sure you have the right documentation. So for me, I actually brought a Nexus card, but they still required me to fill out that form, and so that's what I did. And it was actually really quick. Once you have everything filled up, they'll verify your information and let you board the train. And one thing I also want to mention is, when you buy the train ticket, you can't actually buy it at the counter at the station. You have to buy it when it's online on the app.
Yeah, that is really odd. I
thought that was kind of interesting,
because, you know, especially if you're not planning, if somehow it's a last minute thing and you end up going there, then I suppose it's lucky we have smartphones these days where you can actually get on the internet most places and be able to do it. But yeah, it's kind of odd not being able to go to a station and actually buy the actual ticket there.
Yeah, it was, and I think I was really lucky too, because I wanted to try the business card, and they said this was the last ticket. But you can see the business card is really empty. I mean, given that I did board a little bit earlier to pick his seat out. So one thing I did want to also mention is, when you board the carts, every single seat is open to first come first serve. So you pretty much should board a little bit earlier and reserve a spot that you did want. So one of the items that I saw is they gave this $3 coupon for anyone who was sitting in the business carts to buy things from the bistro carts. And so I wanted Ivor's clam chowder, but they didn't have that. It was the one item they did not have. But so then I tried that mac and cheese, and it's kind of interesting. So this cart, everything is I think like a microwave base, because it's not very good.
The Ivor's clam chowder was available, or it was like on the menu, but they just didn't have any, or why wasn't it available?
Yeah, the Ivor's clam chowder was just not available that cart ride. I don't know why, but they had it on the menu. But they said they had everything else, and they had alcohol and everything too, because there's a lot of people in my cart who was just drinking wine and beer, grabbing getting up ever so often, getting some of that. And then another thing I did also want to mention is, this train ride is offered daily. It's the same time every single day. So the cart I got is the last one for the day. So it departs at 5:45 p.m. from Vancouver, and I think it was about an hour before we got to the border. So I think that's pretty long in itself, because usually going to the border,
Yeah,
I don't think it takes a
at least
full
driving
hour
wise
that long.
from Seattle to the border, it's 2 hours, maybe less, of course, depending on how quickly you drive, but approximately about 2 hours. So an hour from just the station itself to the border, that's quite a bit of time.
Yeah, so I didn't really realize how long this train ride was going to be, but I did want to try it. So since I've never tried it before, and so another thing I thought was really interesting is the carts, the way it was set up, you're faced backwards. So you're going one way, and then you're facing the other way. So
that actually kind of reminds
interesting.
me. I went on this is a while back, a long time ago, on a Southwest flight, and so anybody who's flown on Southwest, they may have encountered one of these jets that they have, and I don't know if they still have them or not, but essentially Southwest, they're at least at the time. I don't know about now. I haven't ridden them in quite a while, but at least at the time, they don't have assigned seating, so it's kind of you have your groups in which you enter, and then when you enter, it's kind of the similar concept. It's come first serve in that group. So you find a seat that's open and nobody's sitting on. You go and you take it, and it's yours. And I remember in one of the flights, and this was a flight I believe I was in Arizona heading back to Seattle, and essentially you had seats that kind of faced each other, kind of like that. So you had your normal seats that were facing forward, but the way most people are familiar with airplanes, right, is that all seats face forward towards the front of the plane. But in this plane, it had seats rows where you literally were facing with the other person at you. So it was really odd at the time, and I thought this was really strange because it was the first time I've encountered something like that. So yeah, your story here kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, I think for this one, it's maybe not quite as awkward where you're facing somebody else, but just looking the opposite direction of where you're traveling to is definitely something a little bit different there. So other things I did also want to mention is they do have Wi-Fi on this train, but the Wi-Fi is only available the moment you cross the US, and it's only available on the US side. I'm not sure why that's the case, but it is what it is. And another thing, so another thing is, so as you see here in the video right now, we're in Bellingham. So Bellingham is one of the first stops you can get off on, and if you haven't watched already, you could check out our Bellingham video down in the description below.
Yeah, we went to a few restaurants there and tried some food out in Bellingham. It was a place that both you and I, before we filmed that episode, we've visited quite a few times separately. I think that was actually our video. It was the first time we actually went to Bellingham together and visited, because I know I've been there on a number of occasions, but I think that was the first time the both of us actually went.
Yeah, I believe so. I think that was the first time we both went there together. Bellingham does have a lot of great food. It's a great place to visit. So another location stop that they have after Bellingham is actually Mount Vernon, and then after Mount Vernon is I think it was it starts with an S. I don't remember the city name already, but after that one is Everett, and then it goes all the way to Seattle, and then that's the final destination, the Seattle King Street Station. And so the whole ride in itself, from 5:45 p.m. all the way to about 10 p.m. that's a long time.
Yeah, that's quite the flight, or the destination.
So overall, if you're looking for something to do in Vancouver or Seattle and you're looking for a long scenic ride, take the Amtrak. And to wrap up the episode are the notables. Unfortunately for this one, there are none.
If you've enjoyed the content you've seen, don't forget to support the channel and hit like and subscribe. And if you want to see additional pictures of food and our travels, go over to our Instagram page and follow us there. And thanks for watching.